and there's millions and millions and millions of dollars of damage here.
It's hard to be surprised by what happens in motorsport races now. However, we are sure what you are about to see now is something very unexpected. Keep on watching to catch the 20 weirdest motorsport moments ever.
No sign of backing off from Meek. A big jump. And he wants this.
To avoid double tighten.
At number 20. This Citroen driver is surely not looking for a parking spot, or is he? Chris Meek crashed off course when he was in the lead at the last kilometer of a Mexican rally. However, Meek managed to find his way back to the course after chaotically trying to maneuver between the other cars. The best part about it? He still managed to win the race and beat his opponent by 13.8 seconds.
Oh, come off. Yeah, I didn't have it on there. Luckily, it was under caution. I just grabbed the shaft.
At number 19, American professional stock race car driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. got so excited during a race that he accidentally tore off the steering wheel of his car. Driving at 183 kilometers per hour, Earnhardt Jr. kept driving and also managed to put the steering wheel back in place as if nothing had happened. This is how you distinguish between a professional and an amateur race car driver. At number 18, a steering wheel coming off is fine, but what happens when both the front wheels of your racing car come off? That's what happened when driver of Scuderia Toro Rosso, Sebastian Buemi, slowed down on a turn and both the front wheels of his car popped right off and rolled around the track next to his car. Fortunately, it was only a practice session before the Chinese Grand Prix, otherwise some serious damage could have been done, not only to the man's car, but also to his career.
Well, the understatement of the year is to say you had a bit of a moment this afternoon. Let's just talk about it from what you remember.
At number 17, Randy Mimola tried his best to stay on his bike. When making a turn, Mimola swerved, but did his best to stay on. So much so that it looked like he was riding a rodeo bull and not a motorcycle. Come to think of it, he's not had a single major accident in his 13-year-long career, but it was his ability to stay on the bike that made him the star of the show.
The two of Brad Keselowski now onto pit road.
Number 16, Brad Keselowski tried to make a pit stop during a NASCAR race. However, what he forgot to do was actually stop at the pit stop. He failed to slow down the car, sending one pit stop worker flying off the hood of the car and the other workers scrambling to get out of the way. There was so much chaos that a tire was even seen rolling onto the track. Keselowski did manage to back up then, but at this point, pit stop workers had to run after the car, creating quite a funny scene.
Oh!
That's
why Sebastian Vettel backed off.
At number 15, the Belgian-Canadian racing driver of the red car, Lance Stroll, colliding with Sebastian Vettel after crossing the finish line. However, that's not the weird part. Upon impact, the front tire flew off and ended up on top of the car. After this, the driver had to hitchhike to his own pit stop since his car was not in a state to be driven after the race had finished. Number 14. The riders were only looking towards victory, but their bikes had something else in mind. The riders ending up crashing together, but that's not the worst part. All the riders got up after the collision, but their bikes decided to dance together. The handlebars got locked together, and they started dancing and circling together in the middle of the track as their riders tried to separate them and climb back onto them, but were eventually defeated by dancing bikes. At number 13, racers Martinez and Calvo colliding during the Costa Rican Championship, but that's not the worst part. When the two came to a stop, Martinez charged at his opponent's bike and hit him right on the helmet, walking away without looking back. Super cool, guys. Looking back at explosions is so last year. However, Calvo decided to get his own revenge on Martinez. He ran at him, tried to pack a punch as well. Of course, both of them were disqualified for 2 years.
Oh no! Oh, mayhem! And there's millions and millions and millions of dollars of damage here.
Number 12. You might remember a scene from the movie Taxi when all the cars ended up colliding. Well, it's not something that just happens in the movies. In real life, the movie moment came to life when a Formula One racer crashed into a wall on the Circuit de Guia. 2 racers did manage to get past the accident. However, the rest of the cars colliding into a heap one after the other, and it was not just a couple of cars. There were 16 cars in total, only 4 surviving. After this catastrophe, the race had to be stopped.
Remember, and he's, oh, wow! Oh, the bonnet's up on China's car!
And he's still driving!
Number 11. A weird moment indeed was when the hood of a German racing driver Timo Scheider flipped up in the middle of the race. This incident took place on the second lap of the race, yet Scheider managed to complete the race and almost drove the entire track blind from the hood on his windshield. Even after the whole incident, he managed to win second place in the race. Number 10. This one is the most unexpected and weirdest moment in motorsports. French racer Sebastian Ogre was having a normal day racing to the finish line when suddenly there were a bunch of cattle on the road in his way. The cows turned out to be lucky, as Ogre reacted just in time, swerving the car just enough to avoid hitting any of them or hurting anyone else. However, it looked like the cow was pretty mad. Maybe it was because it missed a chance to meet Ogre. We'll never know.
Leads them through for the first time with Farmy, Cairo in second. Down goes Brad Binder, and he takes with it.
Number 9. It's quite normal for racers to fall off their bikes during a race, but have you ever seen the racers slide and slip off their bikes all at the same time? Well, we can tell you it is quite an unusual sight. The bikers started toppling on the track one by one as their bikes refused to drive past that one spot on the track. Turns out there was an engine oil leak that led to 13 motorcyclists losing control. Fortunately for the 13, no one was seriously injured in the incident.
And the three-wheeled Williams stops in the pit lane.
Number 8. Nigel Mansell was the leader of the 1991 Portuguese Grand Prix when he pulled into the pit stop to change tires. Once he was ready, he pulled out of the pit stop and immediately lost a wheel that eventually made its way to the pit stop and knocked everyone down like bowling pins. Mansell made his way back to the pit stop and was almost crying with rage and hoping that he would catch up with his competitors. However, what he didn't know was that he would be disqualified for changing a wheel outside the pit stop zone. Poor Mansell.
This is what happened, and I didn't see that. That is Fittipaldi.
Number 7. Racers Martini and Fittipaldi were almost to the finish line when a crash caused Fittipaldi's car to flip in the air. After this, he managed to make his way to the finish line on 3 wheels, after which his car could be seen shaking and breaking down completely. The car was probably throwing curses at Martini, but in the end, they both were teammates. However, watching Fittipaldi's car flip in the air was nothing short of a movie scene.
Et ça se touche, et l'accrochage, et une voiture. Incroyable image de Jules Goudon posée sur le toit de Geoffrey de Narda.
Number 6. You might think you know what perfect parking is, but wait till you see what this guy did. Due to a collision with a competitor, Jules' car somehow ended right on top of his competitor's car. Thankfully, no one sustained any injuries and the racers managed to quickly escape the scene. However, this was the most memorable moment in the Porsche Carrera Cup.
Getting in there, I was just about ready that there was going to be trouble in turn 3.
Number 5. Brad Keselowski racing when he lost control of his car, which then turned 180 degrees and, luckily, placed Keselowski right in his pit stop. The mechanics there did their job and the lucky racer went back to the track. What's more, he even managed to place 13th at the finish line. Yes, Keselowski had his stars working overtime for him in that race.
But Carl and Jeff Gordon, they never slow down. They just keep...
Number 4. If you ever wondered what driving blind is like, just ask the participants of the Camping World Truck Series who got a taste of it. There was a total blackout on the track, and the race had to be finished ahead of schedule. However, even in the blackout, Eric Jones managed to win the race. Imagine driving that fast and that too in complete darkness. No easy task. Kudos to all the participants. Number 3. You might have heard about the Ghost Rider. No, not the one that's on fire. But this rider's bike seemed to be driven by a ghost. The bike had no rider, but was still pretty much driving around. When the track workers tried to get a hold of the bike, it went out of their reach and maneuvered around them to escape. Could there be any other explanation for this besides the bike being ridden by a ghost? We don't think so.
Look at that, playing chicken with Felipe Nasr.
Number 2. We doubt you knew pigeons could do backflips, but after watching this video, you'll see a pigeon landing right on the track in front of a race car and doing a backflip to get out of the way at the exact right time. The whole entire moment is too good to be true. As if that wasn't enough adventure for the pigeon, it also decided to fly right at Sebastian Vettel's car, missing the wheel by just an inch.